It's about growing as a person. Your best is completely unique to you.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. This is episode 5 of Fuck Perfect. I'm here with the wonderful Sam Aochi. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So many people don't know me and probably less know you, but maybe the opposite. I don't know. Maybe you got a strong following.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe can you share a little bit about your story, as much or a little as you want, about kind of what kind of shaped you into who you are today?
Sure. Where do I start? Well, I'm really nutrition and health and fitness minded, so maybe that's a good place to start. I didn't grow up that way. I grew up on crap, Pop-Tarts, nutrition, Nutri-Grain bars, cereal. That was nachos, McDonald's. That's kind of what I grew up on. My dad was very overweight, and my family, they're alcoholics. We had a great time. They were functioning, but kind of grew up in chaos. And I didn't realize I had grown up in chaos until I got older and witnessed maybe a little different side to families. But anyways, that kind of pushed me to love the idea of being outside and pushing your body. And I played sports in high school. I grew up playing softball, basketball, and volleyball, and I chose softball for college. But I fell in love with fitness in high school, that feeling of just like being killed or death in a good way. But I'm one of those weirdos who really likes that feeling. And so that really shaped who I am, good and bad, because I spent some years in an eating disorder, probably from the age of 16 to 26, and had to deal with that sort of baggage and where that came from, and spent some time in rehab. And my sister really saved my life at that time. But it pushed me to learn more. So I studied kinesiology and got my nutrition license and personal trained. And now I'm a PE teacher and I love it. And I teach weightlifting to the upperclassmen, and I do CrossFit, and I love movement. I like to be active. I want to be doing something. I'm quite competitive, but I've learned to rein that in since having kids, because I can't give what I want to give. But that definitely is a huge part of who I am and how I molded and how I look at life. And my dad died when I was 28, so that's 10 years this year. And that right there was like, if I had to point to a spot in my life that changed the direction of my mentality, that was it. I realized he did make a choice to die early, unfortunately, but at the same time, he didn't really make that choice. When you don't know, you don't know. And when he died, I realized I didn't want to be negative ever again. He's not here. He was super positive. So I decided I'm just going to be positive. No matter what life hands me, I'm going to take the positive road and see the glass half full. So I don't know. I mean, I know that's kind of like all over the place, but all in all, I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah. And there's always ways, you can zoom in on one thing and talk for hours on it, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting, not to like apply any labels, but it's interesting the priority of which you identified yourself as a PE teacher first, and then CrossFit almost at the end. And then whenever you come up in my conversations with people, which it does happen, I'm just like, this girl I know, she's an amazing CrossFit person. Like I put CrossFit first, and then I put PE teacher last.
Yeah.
Not as an insult. I'm just like, she's up here, parent and CrossFitter, and then PE teacher last. but obviously there's a lot more joy when you're teaching, as we both know. It's where we met as teachers.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting you. I don't remember the exact first time, but the first, like, say, week, like that beginning phase. I'm like, dang, she's so positive. This is awesome. And at the time in my life, I was recently like becoming awakened of like, whoa, hey, there's like, you don't have to be negative. And I became hyper aware of negativity. So when I met you, I was like, holy shit, here's another positive person. Jackpot. It's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's cool that it's interesting how things happen in life for us, where you said that you became a positive person because your dad passing, which was like not a good thing that he passed, but at the same time it helped you grow.
Absolutely.
And then that kind of how we lined up as well. So in terms of like, say your mindset, and it's kind of like a good segue into that, in terms of your mindset or just life or your job, anything besides nutrition at this point, and maybe about the eating disorder, is that was there a time where you used to focus on just like perfect,
Oh,
um, just
yeah.
perfect something, and
Yeah.
then you're like, oh my God, once, and it was so much pain because you were never getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you drop the perfection goal and you're like, I'm just gonna go for progress, things got better and happier and more sustainable. Is there any part in your
Oh,
life that you
I
want
mean,
to address?
lots of parts of my life. Like, where do I start? Um, I think that, well, anorexia, which is what I had, is a very perfectionist disorder. I
Mhm.
mean, you are hyper perfection about your body, about every little thing. So it's exhausting. And you, unfortunately, I think trying to be perfect breeds negativity because you have no choice but
Absolutely.
to be negative because you never, quote unquote, reach your goal. If
Right.
let's say you're like, I'm going to run 500 miles this week and you want to be perfect, but life happens, you never reach your goal. So you suck. You're stupid. Oh, I'm ugly. I'm fat. Why can't I do that? And I can never do anything right. Instead of looking at it like, okay, I have this many hours. What can I do? Stop worrying about what I can't do. Oh, I can't do 25 pull-ups in a row. Well, I can do 20. That's pretty darn good.
Right.
So, and being a mom has really helped me in this. I know you're a parent too of two, but we can't be perfect because then we would die. Like I'd be exhausted. I'm already
Right.
exhausted and I'm just trying to do the best I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to mess up. I'm going to yell at my kids and then I'll turn around and apologize. I've messed up at school. I have quite a liberal mouth on me. And so I get in trouble often, but it's nothing terrible, but I learn from it. I don't beat myself up like that happened. Okay, next time now I know. And now I've learned to like walk away from situations or just take a few deep breaths, then react. I don't need to emotionally trigger all the time. But yeah, I think once you let go, and it doesn't mean you don't have goals. I have goals. Like I just finished a challenge in January and it was insane. I mean, it was tough. You had to complete these 5 things every day. And
Hmm.
even just a list of 5 things is exhausting with 2 kids and a full-time job and a training schedule. But I got 26 out of 31 days. Would I have loved to do 31 days? Absolutely. Why not?
Right.
Because then it's like, sweet, I did that. But at the same time, shit happens. Life
Yeah.
happens. Kids happen. We had a situation with my in-laws. It was emotional. I let it affect me. It happens. I just said, okay, tomorrow, onward and upward. I don't dwell in it at all.
That's awesome, and it kind of falls right in line with everything that I've been talking about on the podcast. It falls in line with what I tell my clients that I work with, and it stemmed from that mindset that for lack of a better term, the growth mindset, right,
Mm-hmm.
versus the fixed mindset, where it's like you could focus on what you did do or what you can do and just move
Mm-hmm.
on. Like people say, oh, they're trying to follow maybe a certain diet or workout plan, right? And then they miss a day or two and like, oh fuck, I messed up. I'm just gonna give up now. Like no, just keep going on. I
Yeah.
have what I call it is a WTF plan, like when things fail, like just figure out what to do next, like because
Uh-huh.
it's gonna happen. You're gonna fuck up, like, and that's sort of me for me the reason I push myself so hard, maybe you can relate. I push myself so hard when I know I can, because I know there's going to be days when I can't, right? There's going to be days that I can't do it, whether I'm sick or life happens or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's days where I actually don't want to. If it's like, say, I'm traveling on vacation or something, I'm not trying as hard. So like, I try hard when I know I can, and I'm like,
Absolutely.
okay, it's like 95% of the time or something, right?
Yeah.
Uh, like I
And
like
just to
just
learn.
last night, I had so much ice cream. And I'm like, wow, I still got abs today. It's fine.
Hey, life's not over, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And just to know that you just control what you can control. And this is in all aspects of your life. We cannot control some things. And to
Hmm.
let go really takes that stress off you. And so that way I just don't spend too much time on it. I look at the older I get, the more I look at my brain as a limited space and my life a limited space. And I really don't want to waste time on nonsense anymore. So if
Totally,
it's
totally.
not like benefiting me, benefiting my family, making us all grow, making us all be better people, I'm like, "Psh, okay, bye." Done.
Okay, next.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I took a break from Instagram. I just felt like it was no longer benefiting me in a positive way. So what am I doing? And I just took, I think I took like 45 days off, and it was very eye-opening. It's interesting how much time you have, and I don't even spend that much time on my phone, but how much time you end up having, and how I don't need to see things that aren't affecting me. What do I care what these famous, I'm not saying it's bad, but for me
Yeah.
personally, what do I care what these famous people are doing, or what so and so's looking like? Or people would come up to me and say, "Oh, did you see?" And I was like, "No, I was
Yeah.
living my life."
Yeah, if you're not getting any value from it, like real value, turn it off. And that's sort of why I like this, like the idea of this podcast. I can still communicate value in a different medium,
Yeah.
because the social media, and I talk about this a lot, almost in every episode, it's like it pulls out judgment from you. So it's like, do you like this post? Are you hearting this post? Are you comment? Do you how many followers do you have? So it's constantly pulling out people's judgment. And now you have a society who's just ready to judge. Like they're eager to judge, right? They're eager, and then they're giving this fake sense of fulfillment,
Yeah.
where like it's not real connection. It's not really benefiting
Oh, totally. Yeah.
life at all. And so I actually can't stand social media, but and sometimes I have to take a break, like detox, just like from food, just strict detox. Okay, I'm gonna jump back in. I'm gonna try to pull as many people out as I can from not of social media, but out of their habits, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just there's 3 questions that I like to ask myself, and I have my clients ask themselves this too. It's kind of piggybacking on what you were talking about. Is, are you in control of what's causing you pain, or can you control it, or can you not? Right? If you can't control it, that's question 1. 2, are you focusing on the past, the present, or the future? And 3, are you focusing on what's missing or what you already have? So people say, "Oh, I don't have this much money yet because I can't get these new people to sign up." Well, that's not necessarily in your control.
Yeah.
Right? And it's, but what you don't have, and it's maybe focusing on the future. So it's like if you're in the present, focusing on what you have and what you can control, it's like ding ding ding, holy shit, everything kind of makes a lot more sense for problem solving, right?
Yeah. I think just being present in like where you're at is big. A lot of times we skip that. Either we're living in the past in pain, or we're way too far in the future. And there's a moment happening that maybe you're not really present for.
Right.
And I've put a lot of effort into that lately.
Absolutely. Then you have a third, I'm not sure what you'd even call it, a third place. You'd have the past and the future. Then people are now disconnected into their technology, right?
Yes,
so it's almost like
virtual.
They're in the present, but they're just not even connected to anything. They're just floating.
Yeah. It's not the present physical here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and that's kind of scary too, because I think that contributes to a lot of our societal things going on, that they're isolated and they're living in alternate universe, aka technology, and so they're detached from the physical life, and that's hard if there's no one pulling them back. Sorry, that kind of went.
No, I love it. I love it. I think in the traditional hands-off parenting, it used to work in years ago. Even as we were kids, it used to work where parents would say, "Hey, go play. I'm doing this." And go play meant I'm gonna either go outside, I'm gonna go with my friends, and I might play. You might play video games with it. Versus there was a little bit of that, but at the same time, most of it was like you either playing alone or you're playing with your friends and you're out doing something.
Yeah.
But now go play almost all cases. In a lot of cases, it's like technology, and you get a distorted sense of connection. And now people don't know how to actually connect in real life, right?
Yeah. And a distorted sense of value, because they get their value from, if they're older, they're getting their value from these people on the internet they don't know, that are saying, "Hey," and that becomes like all life is about. How many followers you have, how many likes you have, but what are you doing like right now in the moment in your life? That's interesting.
Yeah, and you see, like, you've probably experienced it yourself, or they've probably done little skits on TV where people are like, you're texting someone, it's like on the other side of the room because you don't want to say it. It's like, There might be a legitimate reason, right? Like if you don't want your kids to hear it, right?
Or
But
if I need water, I'll text, babe, can you bring me water?
so in terms of your health, I guess it's almost really connected with what you said earlier. But in terms of your health, did you used to seek perfection and now progress? And give like a
Right.
very specific example, maybe something different.
Um, I'm gonna say nutrition because I think that's the biggest part of health I've well, maybe not I mean exercise too. I love exercise, so I don't have to beg myself to exercise. But I have done more because more is perfect and more is better. And that did not actually work out very well. Had some body problems going on. And then I'd be like, I used to not be able to start my day until I've exercised. Like I couldn't, like, don't ask me to go to a party unless I get my exercise in. So everything was lined up very orderly and perfect. But that's
Mhm.
not life now. You know, I got two kids, and sometimes it's like, hey, I'll be up at 5 a.m. I'm going to hit a quick 30-minute circuit, and that's what I get today. So that's
Yeah,
just everything. Something's better than nothing. That's what I tell my students too. It doesn't have to be everything, and you don't have to hit all your lifts and look perfect. Something's better than nothing. So even if you went in the garage and did 20 bicep curls, that is better than sitting on your couch and doing nothing.
right. And then
And I really try to push that.
and even for people that are listening that don't even have an exercise plan, typically once you start the 20 bicep curls, you might actually go a
Yeah.
little longer.
Yeah. My
I will
sister,
be grump. Go ahead.
no, oh, okay. My sister is not like me, so that's a good example. She does not love exercise, but she just started something that she's doing in her house, and literally she's walking in her house. Whatever, like there's
Mm,
steps. She steps sideways, she steps forward, she watches this little video that is on her TV, and she asked me, like, is that enough? I said, yeah, because you were doing nothing. So of course it's enough. Forward
sure.
progress is progress.
Right.
And just to remember, it's not going to be linear. It's going to go like this, but eventually it
Absolutely.
will be up. I don't know. And then with food, I used to be, yeah, all or nothing, right? Like I count my macros. That's my choice of
Yeah.
dieting. But I, if let's say, oh yeah, I eat 15 grams of carbs over, F it.
Mm,
That day's
yeah.
over. I'm eating it all. And
Yeah.
it's
Right.
such like that analogy of if you get a flat tire, you don't go slash your other three tires. But that's what I was doing.
I haven't heard that. That's
I
really
love
good.
that one. It gets me sometimes. But I totally was doing that. Like, I didn't get it perfect. Fine, the day's over. Where now I just go, okay, that's a little off. And listen, I still have my moments. I am not like, I don't have this all figured out. I still have moments of like, well, I'm just going to finish that bag because, I already had some. But I'm really trying to work on that. Oh, I only had 10 and I feel good and I'm done and it's over, but it's not a big deal that it's over my numbers and I'm just moving on.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little victory if I can close the snack. If I can close, I'm like,
Absolutely.
oh God, look at this. I'm closing it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it away. Don't
And
come
it's
back.
even better when you close it, but you had that moment of true, and I haven't had this a
Hmm.
ton, but that true thought of, I actually feel really satisfied. I'm good. Like, did
Right.
you really stop that moment you felt it? Because I'm gonna be honest, that's usually not my case
Mm.
because I don't usually have these things in my house. So when I do, it goes overboard. But I love, like you said, that's a victory. If I can go, you know what, I feel good. Closed, done.
Yeah. Emily says this to me all the time. She says, you need to learn moderation. I'm like, look, if it's in the house,
Oh,
it's a good chance it's gone. Like
yep.
I'm gonna go for it. I don't
Yeah.
have that. I don't have moder. That's why I don't buy it. I was like, if
Yeah.
you want to take it to work, you want to eat at work, go for it. I
Yeah.
can't. If it's
Or
not
I've
gonna.
gotten Jared, my husband, to buy stuff I don't really care for. Like
Oh yeah.
he's really into these Snicker ice cream bars right now. I don't know what's happening, but I don't really care for them. They're quite sweet, so I don't care. Have 24 of them in here. I can handle that. Don't buy my favorite thing and put it on the counter, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Peanut butter cups are gonna be gone for me.
Oh, for sure.
Um, but yeah, if I don't, to come on what you said earlier, if I know I have a workout to do or like on my schedule, I have an idea when I have a window I'm going to do it, and if it doesn't get done, I get grumpy that it didn't get done, and I'm just like, you know.
So let me ask you, is there another way that you could fit something in that moment? Like maybe it's hard because we have our ideas made up of I want to do this. But you know
Yeah,
what?
for me, absolutely. I ever since I don't know how we haven't talked about this yet. Our whoops.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, so ever since getting the whoop, I have been focused more on recovery and kind of like leading up to it. I was like, I think I need to balance out this recovery area instead of the
Mhm.
performance area so I can perform better and recover better, live
Yeah.
longer and all that jazz. So if I know like I can't get a workout in, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna chalk it up to I'm getting more recovery now. So I'm like,
Mhm.
that's good. And I'll make sure I do like a 20-minute Epsom salt bath if I can do that. Meditation and maybe stretching, and I'll even like meditate in the Epsom salt bath. So I double
Yeah.
dip, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, cool, recovery day. So it's not, I don't see it as a waste anymore because I see that recovery area, and
Yeah.
then usually the next day, you have benefit recovery. Then I go really hard in the workout, right? Um, and to kind of tag on that, I started listening to the podcast, and
Yeah.
and like, wow, that's really cool. Like I didn't realize that 6 hours of sleep a night was equal to 48 hours of staying up. And it's basically driving while intoxicated or being drunk at work is the same thing as being sleep deprived.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, holy cow! And I thought my life had changed. It just kind of lined up with, oh, you have kids now. You're trying to squeeze all the stuff in you can. So now you're gonna shave off a little more sleep because everyone says just get an hour or less sleep. Suck it up. So I
Yeah.
did that for 5 years, and I just felt tired all the time. Like
Mhm.
really tired, like pain
Yeah.
behind your eyes.
Yeah.
And since getting the Whoop and new mattress, not too much product placement today, but like I feel like whoop, like I did before kids. Like I'm getting like 7.5,
Yeah.
8 hours of sleep now. 8 hours like minimum, like an 8-hour
Yes.
average, and I feel amazing.
I'm with you. When I do my whole routine, when I do my night routine and I get in bed and I get my hours, I have always known I need sleep. I'm one of those humans. Like I'm in the green. I am fully recovered. I can be recovered for 5 days straight, no problem, with my workouts and everything. So it's huge. I function better. I work out better. I teach better. I'm
Mm.
nicer. I'm
Yeah,
more
nice.
patient.
For sure, for
The
sure.
patience is huge, like with kids and working with kids. Sleep deprivation and patience go hand in hand, and I
Mm,
need a lot. So I don't know. I love it. And you know what throws me into red? My
mm,
nutrition. So if I take a day off, like yesterday, it was February 1st. So I took a day off. I didn't count. It was my best friend's baby shower. I hosted it, had what I wanted. I'm in the red today
And
because
when you
that
say
my
red,
body.
for
My whoop.
people that don't know,
Yeah,
it's like
sorry.
really bad recovery.
Yeah. I think I'm like 20% today.
Oh
Now it's
gosh.
also like I've trained a really long time, so this is a planned rest day, and I went on a walk, and I stretched, so I'm doing my part to recover for tomorrow. But dang, that nutrition really throws me into the red zone. It's like my body doesn't like it, and I think what happens now that I've listened to some more research on the Whoop podcast, I'm not sleeping well because my body's having to work really hard to digest and work on all that food I just ate.
It's interesting you say that. I was starting to pay attention. Hey, now that you have these like data things to look at,
Yeah,
I'm like, it's interesting. And we always probably are tracking your food, so that's like just secondhand, no big deal. Um, I'll notice, at least as of right now, if I eat sweet potatoes, I don't know if it's potatoes, but if it's sweet potatoes and some sort of like legume at dinner time around 6:37, my recovery is great.
oh
So
wow.
I'm trying to fit. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna test it. I tested it out. I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
all right. We'll try this. So I guess my body likes this at nighttime. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna keep doing this. I haven't tried alcohol yet. I just
Yeah,
don't.
I'm not a big drinker. My
Yeah.
other friend who has the Whoop band, he notices it. Sometimes it won't register him sleeping for 3 hours into him being passed out because his body and heart rate are so high
Oh,
trying to
so high.
process the alcohol. Isn't
Right.
that crazy?
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. And I think that's what's happening with the sugar in my body when I do have a treat, and I go overboard, which again, for people listening, it's not that often, but at least once a month I do. and I notice it, like I don't sleep well, I'm in the red. Your body works
Mhm.
really hard to do all these things, and we kind of take it for granted.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And as far as the treats, I mean, I probably have them like maybe once a week. But I know the ice cream one I was really looking forward to. I had it in the freezer. I'm just like looking at it and like, oh, when I get a good recovery day, you're mine. You're
Yeah, yeah,
mine.
yeah, yeah. But
Oh,
that's
cool.
interesting. You almost are flipping it, and I should do that. See what food gives me the best recovery.
Yeah, and so I'll just take what I normally eat and just switch it up throughout the day and see if it's the um if
The
it improves or
timing.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, cool. This has been super fun. But I want to add before we end this, what do you got going on right now? What goals are you working on?
Okay. I'm gonna do a weightlifting competition in March. I'm really
Uh-huh.
excited. Like a legit one. I never have. I'm talking like Olympic weightlifting. You have to wear like the singlet and weigh in,
Uh-huh.
um like we just talked about, I've switched my thought process. I'm not doing it to win. Of course I'm competitive. I want to do well, but I'm just doing it to give me something to focus on. And I don't want a body goal right now as far as physique and aesthetics. I want a performance goal. And so I just chose to kind of focus on that. And I'm CrossFitting and working out hard and walking every day because I'm doing this challenge with this year. You have to hit 2,020 miles this year with a group of 5. So we just get a few miles every day. I think all of us individually have to
Mm,
hit about 440 each, which is not, if you hit a mile or 2 a day, you're fine. So I just go on
right.
walks a lot. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. And I'm working on
Can you hit
self
that while
self
you're just
care.
teaching?
It has to be intentional. So it can't just be your day. Like you have to say,
That's
I'm going on a
hilarious.
walk.
That's hilarious. I tell my clients when I tell them to start like the very beginning when they work with me, I'm like, okay, I need you to start sleeping, drinking water, and walking. If you can't do that, we don't go any further. Um, and I tell them it has to be an intentional walk.
Yeah.
It cannot be happens to
Yeah.
be walking. It's
I mean,
different. It's a whole different experience, right?
oh, totally. Because my days, I hit 10,000 steps before I get to the gym. I just have a great job. I chose that job because I wanted to move, but now I'm adding another 2 miles, so I'm hitting like 15 to 17,000 steps.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes a difference. Movement is good for your body. We sit all day. Some of
Right.
us, I mean.
Yeah.
But
No,
just
sitting is
focusing
terrible
on,
for our bodies.
oh yeah, I mean, there's so many things that go into that with your tight muscles and stuff. But just trying to find self-care time too. Like you said,
Mhm.
Epsom salt bath, being the mom, I'm like, oh, what's that? Like you get time alone? That's awesome. So just trying to carve out time, whether I'm reading a book or meditating and stretching, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be crazy, but
Yeah.
just trying to make
Well,
sure I'm balancing.
nice. Yeah. No, sometimes when I'm doing the bath, like if Joey sees it, he's like, "Oh, I want a bath right now."
Yeah.
He goes right in. I'm like, "Great. Let's get the
Yeah.
toys and we'll have fun."
I just hear mama, mama.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm
Exactly.
shocked no one's called me while I'm on the phone.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you
Oh.
so much for this. I really appreciate you being on. It's been fun to catch
Yeah,
up.
that's awesome. Thanks for doing it and good luck with everything.
Thanks.